I stand in the conference room of Harper Auto Group, the family business I built from near bankruptcy into a $12 million empire over 8 years. My parents just announced they're handing full ownership to my younger sister Amanda, who has never worked a day in the business. The lawyer slides the transfer documents across the table. Amanda smirks. Their parents won't meet my eyes. My hands shake as I realize everything I sacrificed my marriage, my health, my 20s, means nothing to them. They chose blood over merit, favoritism over fairness. The fluorescent lights in the conference room buzz overhead, harsh and unforgiving, just like this moment. I grip the edge of the mahogany table, my knuckles turning white as I try to process what I just heard. Amanda sits across from me, her freshly manicured nails drumming against her designer handbag, a bag that probably cost more than our service manager makes in a month. She's wearing clothes I know she didn't pay for herself because she's never held a real job longer than 6 months. My mind spirals back 8 years to where this all began. I was 24 years old, working as a senior accountant at one of the Big Four firms in downtown Chicago. I'd fought hard for that position, graduating top of my class, working 80-hour weeks to prove myself in a competitive field. I was making $90,000 a year, had my own apartment in Lincoln Park, and was engaged to Marcus, a software engineer I'd met in college. We had plans, a wedding date set for June, a deposit down on a condo. We talked about kids, maybe getting a dog first, taking a honeymoon in Italy. Then, Dad had his heart attack. It happened on a Tuesday morning. Mom called me at work, her voice shaking so badly I could barely understand her. Dad had collapsed in the garage of our second location, the one on Route 59. Paramedics said it was a massive coronary event. He survived, but the doctors were clear about his prognosis. He needed to retire immediately, reduce stress, change everything about his lifestyle. That same week, I discovered just how bad things had gotten with the business. $300,000 in debt, vendors threatening to cut us off, customers leaving in droves because of poor service and outdated practices. Dad had been trying to hide it all, working himself literally to death trying to keep things afloat. The business my grandfather started in 1973, the one that had put me and Amanda through college, was circling the drain. Amanda was 21 then, finishing her senior year at Northwestern, studying art history. She was in the midst of planning a backpacking trip through Europe with her sorority sisters, something Mom and Dad were funding, despite the business being in crisis. When I suggested she might want to postpone her trip to help with the family emergency, Mom actually got upset with me for even mentioning it. Amanda needs to finish her education and experience life, Mom had said. She's young. Let her have this time. I looked at Marcus that night in our apartment. We'd been together for 6 years. He knew what I was thinking before I said it. "You're going to postpone the wedding," he said quietly. "The business needs me," I replied. "It's not forever, just until I can stabilize things." He nodded, but I saw something flicker in his eyes. Doubt, maybe, or resignation. "Whatever you need to do." I gave up my job at the firm, gave up the salary, the career trajectory I'd worked so hard to build. I moved back home to save money and threw myself into saving Harper Auto Group. Those first few months were brutal. I was at the garage by 6 in the morning and rarely left before midnight. I renegotiated contracts with suppliers, personally called every customer who'd left to apologize and offer incentives to return. I implemented new inventory management systems, modernized our booking processes, trained staff on customer service protocols that actually worked. Marcus and I postponed the wedding once, then twice. Then we stopped talking about it altogether. I expanded the business from 2 locations to 5 across northern Illinois. I brought in new revenue streams, fleet services for local businesses, partnerships with insurance companies, a detail shop that became surprisingly profitable. Annual revenue climbed from $1.2 million to $5 million in 3 years. Then $8 million, then $12 million by year 7. The staff grew from 8 employees to 43. I hired a fantastic service manager named Bill Hode. Been working at a dealership and was wasted there. I brought in Sarah, a marketing specialist who transformed our online presence. I created a workplace culture people actually wanted to be part of, with decent wages, health benefits, and respect. Amanda graduated, spent a year traveling Europe, came back and worked part-time at an art gallery for 2 years before quitting because her boss didn't appreciate her vision. Then she spent a year doing nothing while living in an apartment mom and dad paid for. She'd occasionally mention maybe going to graduate school or starting an Etsy shop, but nothing ever materialized. I turned 27, 28, 29. Marcus grew tired of being second priority. He wanted to start our life, buy a house, have children. I kept saying, soon, just a little longer. The business needs me right now. But right now never ended. There was always another crisis, another opportunity, another reason why I couldn't step away. On my 30th birthday, Marcus left. We were supposed to have dinner, just the two of us. The first date night planned in 3 months. I got a call from our Route 59 location about a major problem with a customer's vehicle that could turn into a lawsuit if not handled immediately. I chose the business. Again. Marcus was gone when I got home at 11 that night. Had packed his things and left a note. It said, "I love you, Jolene, but I can't compete with Harper Auto Group. I hope the business makes you happy, because it's the only thing you seem to have room for in your life." I'm sorry. I wanted us to work. I cried for a week. Then I buried myself even deeper in work because it was the only thing that made sense anymore. The business needed me. The business appreciated my efforts. The business showed measurable results for every hour I invested. Mom and Dad praised my work. Sure, Dad would pat my shoulder and say, "Don't know what we'd do without you, kiddo." Mom would thank me for keeping the family legacy alive, but they always talked about it as our family business, never as something I'd built, something I'd earned through sacrifice and blood and tears. Amanda visited the dealerships occasionally, usually when she needed money. Dad would always give it to her, hundreds of dollars at a time. When I pointed out that I hadn't taken a salary increase in 3 years, despite growing the business exponentially, Dad said, "But you're doing fine, sweetheart. Amanda needs more help right now." I turned 31, then 32. No social life, no relationship. My friends from college had stopped inviting me to things because I always said no, always had to work. My entire identity became Harper Auto Group. I convinced myself it was worth it. I was building something, creating value, making a difference. Then last month, Amanda started showing up at the business twice a week. She'd sit in on meetings, ask questions about operations, take notes. I was surprised but pleased. Maybe she was finally maturing, I thought. Maybe she was ready to contribute. I welcomed her warmly, spent hours explaining systems, teaching her about vendor relationships and customer service philosophies. I took her to lunch, bonded with her like we hadn't in years. Now, sitting in this conference room, I realized the truth with sickening clarity. Amanda wasn't learning because she wanted to help. She was scoping out what would soon be hers. Every question she asked, every system I explained, every relationship I introduced her to, it was all reconnaissance. And it helped her. It enthusiastically prepared Amanda to steal everything I'd built. The lawyer clears his throat. His name is Donald, and he's not our usual family attorney. I don't recognize him. That should have been my first warning. "Miss Harper," Donald says, looking at me over his reading glasses. "The transfer of ownership from Gerald and Patricia Harper to Amanda Harper will be effective immediately upon signing these documents. Do you have any questions?" Immediately. The word comes out as a croak. As in, today. As of this meeting, yes, Donald confirms. All bank accounts, signing authority, and vendor relationships will transfer to Amanda within 48 hours. Your parents have been working with our firm for approximately 6 months to ensure a smooth transition. 6 months. They'd been planning this for 6 months. While I worked 70-hour weeks. While I closed the biggest fleet contract in company history. While I personally handled the expansion of our 5th location. For 6 months, they'd been meeting with lawyers, preparing documents, plotting to hand my life's work to someone who'd never changed a tire. Why? I finally ask, looking at my parents. Just tell me why. My mother, Patricia, shifts in her seat. She's wearing pearls, I notice. The ones Dad bought her for their 35th anniversary. She fidgets with them, not meeting my eyes directly. Amanda needs security, Mom finally says. She's struggled to find her path in life. This will give her purpose, stability. Dad nods, his jaw set in that stubborn way I know so well. You're capable, Jolene. You'll be fine anywhere. You've proven that. You could walk into any business and turn it around. Amanda needs this more than you do. The logic is so twisted, it takes me a moment to even formulate a response. So because I'm competent, I don't deserve to own what I built? Because I worked hard and made this business successful? That means it should go to someone who hasn't worked at all. That's not what we're saying. Mom interjects quickly. We're saying that you're strong enough to start over. Amanda isn't. She needs something that's hers, something she can build her confidence with. Build her confidence with. I repeat, slowly. This is a $12 million business with 43 employees and their families depending on it. It's not a confidence-building exercise. It's not a participation trophy. Amanda speaks for the first time. Her voice syrupy sweet in that way that's always grated on me. I promise. You'll take good care of it, sis. I've been learning so much from you. Maybe you can stay on as a manager or something? I'd love to have your expertise available. Manager. After 8 years of being the CEO in everything but title, she's offering me a manager position in the business I rebuilt from the ground up. The condescension in her tone is barely masked. She thinks she's being generous. What qualifications do you have to run an automotive service business? I ask, keeping my voice level despite the rage building in my chest. Amanda sits up straighter. I have a business minor from Northwestern. I've been learning from you these past few weeks. And Mom and Dad believe in me. That's what matters, right? Family, supporting family. A business minor. 4 classes she took a decade ago because she needed to fulfill a distribution requirement. Classes she probably barely paid attention to because she was too busy planning her social calendar. That's her qualification to run a multi-million-dollar operation. Amanda, do you know how to read a profit and loss statement? I ask. She blinks. I mean, profit is good, loss is bad. Do you know what ASE certification means? Something about mechanics. Do you know who our primary suppliers are? What our average customer acquisition cost is? What our employee retention rate is? Anything about the fleet contracts that make up 40% of our revenue? I'll learn, she says defensively. That's what employees are for. I'll have Bill and Sarah and everyone to help me. I turn to my parents. You're handing over a business you barely understand to someone who understands it even less. Do you realize what you're risking? Not just my work, but 43 people's jobs, their health insurance, their family's security. Dad's face hardens. We've made our decision, Jolene. This is still our business to do with as we please. We built this company. You built a failing company that I saved. I counter. I built what it is today. Every system, every expansion, every successful quarter for the last 8 years, that was me. And we're grateful, Mom says, but her tone suggests she's about to add a but. But you did that for the family, not for ownership. We never promised you anything. The words hit like a physical blow. They're right. We never had it in writing. It assumed that my work would speak for itself, that my contributions would naturally result in ownership. It'd been naive, stupid even. So my 8 years of sacrifice mean nothing. I ask quietly. Losing Marcus, losing my career, losing my 20s, all of that was just me donating my labor to the family. Don't, Be dramatic, Dad says. You made choices. You wanted to help. We didn't force you. Technically true. But it feels like gaslighting. Yes, I chose to help. But I chose under the belief that I was building something for myself too. That my family valued me enough to recognize my contributions. Amanda leans forward. Look, Jolene, I know this is hard for you. You've always been the successful one, the smart one, the one everyone relies on. But maybe it's time for me to have something too. You've had your turn. Her words reveal so much about how she sees this. She thinks success is something that gets passed around, like a toy shared between siblings. She has no concept that success is earned, that you build it through work and sacrifice and persistence. I look at my parents again, searching their faces for any sign that they understand what they're doing. You see her as the one who needs protection. You see me as the one who's too independent to need anything from you. But you're wrong. I needed your respect. I needed your recognition. I needed to know that my work mattered beyond just being useful. Mom's eyes glisten with tears, but she doesn't change her position. We do respect you, honey. We just think this is what's best for the family as a whole. The lawyer, Donald, clears his throat again. If we could move forward with the signatures, please. I have another appointment at 3. Dad picks up his pen. So does Mom. They sign the documents without hesitation. Their signatures swift and sure. No last-minute doubts. No reconsideration. Amanda signs next, her handwriting loopy and self-satisfied. They all look at me. The final document is one that acknowledges the transfer of operational control, a formality that shows I'm aware of and accepting the change in ownership. I'm not signing that, I say. Donald frowns. It's just a procedural acknowledgement, then the procedure will remain unacknowledged. Dad's face flushes. Jolene, don't make this harder than it needs to be. Harder for who? Certainly not for me. I'm not the one who needs to pretend this is anything other than what it is. Betrayal. I stand up, pushing my chair back. It scrapes against the floor, a harsh sound in the tense silence. I walk toward the door, my legs shaking but holding me up. Miss Harper, the lawyer calls after me. The transfer will proceed, with or without your signature, on the acknowledgement. It simply creates additional paperwork. I turn back one last time. Then I guess you'll have additional paperwork, Amanda calls after me. Jolene, don't be like this. We're still family. But I'm already walking out, my heart pounding in my ears, every step taking me away from 8 years of my life, from everything I built, from the only thing I thought I could count on. Family, I'm learning, is just another word for people who think they can take from you, without consequence, because you share DNA. I drive home in a blur, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my fingers ache. My apartment feels empty and cold when I walk in. It's a small one-bedroom place in Naperville. Nothing fancy, because Id funneled every extra dollar back into the business that's no longer mine. I pour myself a glass of wine, then pour it down the sink. I need to think clearly. There's something wrong about all of this beyond the obvious betrayal. Something doesn't add up. I open my laptop and log into the business financial systems. I'm still the one with actual administrative access, since the technical transfer hasn't been fully processed yet. I have maybe 48 hours before they lock me out completely. I start digging through the accounts, looking at recent transactions. At first, everything looks normal. Payroll, vendor payments, utilities, the usual operational expenses. Then I notice something odd. 3 months ago, a payment for $50,000 to something called Zenith Consulting, LLC. I don't recognize the name. I search through my emails, my files, my memory. Nothing. I never approved a consultant, never even discussed hiring one. I keep digging. 2 months ago, another payment, $30,000 to Apex Brand Development. Again, no record of this in any of my project files or meeting notes. These aren't small amounts. These are significant expenses that should have gone through multiple approval layers. Last month, $40,000 to Summit Market Research. That's $120,000 in 3 months to companies I've never heard of, for services I never authorized. All the payments were approved by Dad, according to the digital signatures in the system. I search for these company names online. Zenith Consulting LLC has a bare-bones website that looks like it was made with a free template. One page, generic stock photos, vague language about business optimization and strategic growth initiatives. No client testimonials, no case studies, no real information. Apex Brand Development's website is similar. Professional looking but empty of substance. Summit Market Research doesn't even have a website. I dig deeper, pulling up the Illinois Secretary of State's business registry. Zenith Consulting LLC was registered 6 months ago. The registered agent is listed as Tyler Brennan. Tyler Brennan, Amanda's boyfriend. My stomach drops. I search for Apex Brand Development and Summit Market Research, both registered within the past 6 months, both listing Tyler Brennan as registered agent. Tyler is a wannabe entrepreneur I've met exactly 3 times at family gatherings. Has 28, went to a mediocre business school downstate, and has started 5 different businesses in the past 3 years. A meal prep service that lasted 4 months. A cryptocurrency advisory firm that folded after 6 months. An app development company that never actually developed any apps. A consulting business that had no clients. And most recently, a marketing agency that consisted of Tyler and a laptop. Every business failed. Every one. And now he's somehow managed to extract $120,000 from Harper Auto Group. I access Dad's email account. I know his password because he's technologically incompetent, and I've had to help him countless times. Sure enough, there's an email trail. Tyler had sent Dad a proposal 6 months ago. Strategic business assessment and growth planning. Had positioned himself as an expert in family business transitions, which is laughable given his track record. But the proposal was well-written, professional, full of business jargon that would sound impressive to someone like Dad who never went to college. Dad ate it up. The emails show Tyler slowly building a relationship with Dad, then with Mom, then positioning Amanda as the ideal person to take the business into the next generation. I find another folder. Amanda Business Plan. It's a document Tyler created, outlining why Amanda should take over. It lists her supposed qualifications, none of which are real. It talks about fresh perspectives and innovative thinking and digital native understanding. All buzzwords that mean nothing. Then I find the real smoking gun. An email from Tyler to Dad, sent just 2 weeks ago. Excited to move forward with the transition. Once Amanda has ownership, we can implement Phase 2 of the strategic plan. I'll transition into the Chief Strategy Officer role we discussed, and we can really start to optimize operations. Chief Strategy Officer. Tyler has positioned himself to have a formal role in the business. I search Dad's sent folder for any reply. There it is. Sounds good, Tyler. We trust your expertise. Let's keep this between us for now. They were planning to install Tyler as a senior executive without telling me. Without telling anyone. I access the shared drive where legal documents are stored. There's a folder dated from last week, labeled New Operating Agreements. Inside is a draft document that makes my blood run cold. It's a proposed new operating structure for Harper Auto Group. Amanda as owner and president. Tyler Brennan as Chief Strategy Officer, with a salary of $200,000 annually. The document gives Tyler signing authority on all accounts. Approval power over expenditures, up to $100,000, and the ability to hire and fire at will. $200,000 for a man who's never successfully run anything, for a man whose only qualification is dating my sister. I lean back in my chair, my mind racing. This isn't just about parental favoritism anymore. This is about Tyler manipulating my family to gain access to millions of dollars. He saw Amanda, the neglected younger daughter, desperate for validation, and he saw an opportunity. But why? What's his endgame? I spend the next 2 hours digging through every database I can access. Credit reports, public records, court documents. I find information about Tyler that makes my blood run cold. He has $17,000 in credit card debt across 6 cards. He defaulted on a car loan last year, has been sued twice by former business partners for non-payment. But that's not the worst of it. I find references to Tyler in some gambling forums I can access through a trial subscription to a background check service. People discussing Ty B, who owes money to bookies. Amounts ranging from $50,000 to $200,000, depending on the source. I create a fake profile on one of the forums and send a private message to someone who mentioned Tyler by his full name. Do you know if Tyler Brennan ever paid back what he owed? The response comes back within an hour. Last I heard, dude was in deep, like $230K deep to some serious people. Heard he got an extension, but they're gonna come collecting soon. Why? You know him. $230,000 to loan sharks. Suddenly, everything makes sense. Tyler isn't interested in running Harper Auto Group, he's interested in what he can extract from it. I search through Amanda's email next. She left herself logged in on the office computer last time she was there, and her session is still active. I know it's an invasion of privacy, but I'm past caring about niceties. There it is. A text message thread between Amanda and Tyler, synced to her email. Tyler, 3 weeks ago. Once the business is yours, we can take out a line of credit against it. Well, use it to pay off some debts, invest in some opportunities, and nobody will even know. Business owners do it all the time. Amanda, are you sure? That sounds risky. Tyler. Babe, trust me. I know what I'm doing. And if this transfer goes through, if Amanda and Tyler get control of Harper Auto Group, they'll destroy everything I built within a year. They'll drain the equity, default on loans, and leave the business bankrupt, while Tyler pays off his gambling debts to violent criminals. My family has no idea what they've invited into their lives. I grab my phone and compose a text to my parents and Amanda. Emergency family meeting. Tonight, 7 p.m. at your house. Non-negotiable. I have information you need to see before the ownership transfer is finalized. Mom replies first. Jolene, if this is about the business decision, it's already made. Me. This isn't about hurt feelings. This is about fraud and criminal activity. 7 p.m. Be there. There's a long pause, then Dad replies. Fine. 7 p.m. I have 6 hours to prepare. 6 hours to figure out how to make my family see what they've done. 6 hours to save them from themselves. I arrive at my parents' house at 6:45, folder in hand. It's a modest ranch-style home in Aurora, the house I grew up in. Mom's garden is blooming with late-season roses. The porch light flickers the way it always has. Everything looks normal, peaceful even. But nothing is normal anymore. I let myself in with my key. Mom is in the kitchen making coffee, her face tense. Dad sits in his recliner in the living room, the TV on mute. Amanda is on the couch, her phone in her hand, texting rapidly. Probably Tyler. Is Tyler coming? I ask. Amanda looks up. Yeah, he's on his way. I wanted him here for support. Of course she did. Good. He needs to hear this too. Dad mutes the TV completely. What's this about, Jolene? Your text was very dramatic. You'll see. Tyler arrives 10 minutes later. He's wearing designer jeans and a polo shirt, his hair carefully styled. He has that effortless confidence of someone who's never faced real consequences for his failures. He kisses Amanda on the cheek and nods at me. Jolene! Good to see you. I don't return the greeting. Let's get started. I lay the folder on the coffee table and open it. 3 months ago, Harper Auto Group paid $50,000 to Zenith Consulting LLC. 2 months ago, $30,000 to Apex Brand Development. Last month, $40,000 to Summit Market Research. That's $120,000 total. Dad, do you remember approving these payments? Dad shifts uncomfortably. Tyler recommended some consultants to help with the business transition. Tyler recommended Tyler. I say flatly. All three of those companies are registered to him. He paid himself $120,000 of our money through shell companies. Mom's hand flies to her mouth. Amanda looks confused. Tyler's expression doesn't change, which tells me everything I need to know. Hes not surprised, I found out. He just didn't expect me to confront him about it. Those were legitimate consulting services, Tyler says calmly. I provided strategic analysis and transition planning. You provided nothing. I counter. These companies have no websites, no employees, no track record. They exist solely as vehicles for you to extract money from my family's business. I pull out the next set of documents, but that's not even the worst part. Tyler owes $230,000 to bookies and loan sharks. He has credit card debt in 5 figures. Has been sued twice for non-payment. And his last 5 businesses all failed within a year. I lay out the printed evidence, the forum posts, the court records, the credit reports, everything. Amanda's face has gone pale. Tyler, is this true? Tyler's calm mask cracks slightly. Some of that is taken out of context. I had some bad luck with previous ventures. Sure, but everyone does. And the gambling thing, that was years ago. I have it under control now. It wasn't years ago. I say, you owe money right now, and I have proof of your plan to drain equity from the business to pay your debts. I pull out the text messages between him and Amanda. Amanda snatches the papers from my hand, reading them quickly. Her face goes from pale to red. You said taking out a line of credit was standard business practice, she says to Tyler. You didn't mention it was to pay off your gambling debts. Tyler stands up, his voice rising. Okay, this is what I warned you about, babe. Your sister can't stand seeing you succeed. She's fabricating evidence because she's jealous. Fabricating. I turn to my parents. Everything I've shown you is verifiable. Call the Illinois Secretary of State right now and ask who owns Zenith Consulting. Check the court records. This is all public information. Dad looks shaken, but Mom speaks up. Even if this is true, Tyler has been nothing but supportive of Amanda. Maybe he made some mistakes in his past, but he's trying to help now. Hes trying to help himself. I correct. To $12 million worth of assets that he can borrow against and drain dry. Tyler points at me. You know what this is really about? Control. Jolene can't stand the idea of not being in charge. Shay's a control freak who's terrified of becoming irrelevant. I don't care about control, I say, my voice steady despite my racing heart. I care about 43 employees who will lose their jobs when you tank this business. I care about vendors who've trusted us for years. I care about customers who depend on us. And apparently, I'm the only one who does. I turn to Amanda. Hes, using you. Can't you see that? He doesn't love you. He loves what you can give him access to. Amanda's eyes fill with tears. She looks at Tyler, then at me, then at the documents scattered across the table. For a moment, I think I'm getting through to her. Then Tyler puts his arm around her shoulders. Babe, this is exactly what I warned you about. Your sister has always treated you like you're stupid, like you can't do anything right. She's been undermining your confidence your whole life. It's masterful manipulation, and I watch it work in real time. Amanda's face hardens. The vulnerability disappears, replaced by defensive anger. You're right, she says to Tyler, then looks at me. You've always treated me like I'm incompetent, like I'm not smart enough, not capable enough. You were so happy to have me shadow you at the business because it made you feel superior, didn't it? That's not true, I say. I was trying to help you. You were trying to show off how much more you knew than me, Amanda counters. You've never respected me. None of you have. She looks at our parents, except Mom and Dad. They finally gave me something that's mine. And you can't stand it. Dad stands up. I think we've heard enough. Jolene. I appreciate you bringing this to our attention. But even if Tyler has had some financial difficulties, that's Amanda's business now. It's her company. She'll make her own decisions. The words hit like a slap. Even with all the evidence laid out, even knowing Tyler is a con artist with massive debts and criminal connections, Dad is still choosing to hand over the business. So you're just going to let this happen? I ask quietly. You're going to give everything to someone who will destroy it? Mom wrings her hands. We trust Amanda to make the right choices. Amanda isn't making choices, I say. Tyler is. And his choice is to use the business as a personal ATM machine. That's enough, Dad says firmly. This is our decision. We've made it. You need to respect that and leave. Leave. I look at my father. This man who raised me, who taught me about hard work and integrity, who is now choosing willful blindness over facing uncomfortable truths. You're asking me to leave. You're upsetting your sister and your mother, he says. I gather up my documents slowly, putting them back in the folder. I look at Amanda one more time. When this all falls apart, and it will, remember that I tried to warn you. Amanda lifts her chin. I don't need your warnings. I need you to respect that this is my business now. I walk toward the front door, my legs feeling like lead. Mom follows me, touching my arm as I reach for the doorknob. Jolene, honey, please don't leave like this. We're still family. I turn to look at her. Family doesn't just mean showing up for holidays and saying you love each other. It means respecting each other's contributions. It means protecting each other from predators. We're not family, we're just people who share DNA and a history of disappointment. I walk out into the cool evening air. Behind me, I hear Amanda crying, Tyler's voice murmuring comfort, my parents arguing in hushed tones. I'm halfway to my car when I hear footsteps behind me. Tyler. He catches up to me with a smug grin on his face. When he speaks, his voice is low enough that no one in the house can hear. You think you're so smart, he says. Here's what you don't know. I've already convinced Amanda to make me co-owner, 50-50 split. The papers are ready to be signed. By next week, I'll own half of everything you built. The words are delivered with such casual cruelty that for a moment I can't respond. He continues. And there's nothing you can do about it, because Mommy and Daddy already chose their favorite. You're the workhorse, Jolene. Amanda's the princess. That's how it's always been, and that's how it'll always be. He walks away, hands in his pockets, whistling. He actually whistles. I sit in my car for a long time, hands gripping the steering wheel, trying to catch my breath. The situation is worse than I thought. Tyler isn't just a leech attached to Amanda. He's actively positioning himself to own half the business. And my family is so blinded by their desire to help Amanda that they're enabling it all. I drive home with tears streaming down my face. Not tears of sadness, tears of rage, tears of frustration, tears of grief for the family I thought I had but never actually did. I don't sleep that night. I sit at my kitchen table with a notepad and pen, formulating a plan. By 6 in the morning, I have the outline of what needs to happen. First, I call Helen Garcia, the attorney who handles corporate matters for Harper Auto Group. She's not the family lawyer who processed the ownership transfer. She's the one who deals with contracts, liability issues, and business structure. I've worked with her for 5 years. She answers on the third ring. Jolene? It's Saturday morning. This must be important. Helen, I need you to look at something. Can I come to your office? I'm actually home, but you can come here if it's urgent. I drive to Helen's house in Wheaton. A beautiful colonial, with a well-maintained lawn. She greets me in jeans and a Northwestern sweatshirt, coffee mug in hand. You look terrible, she says bluntly. What's going on? I tell her everything. The ownership transfer, Tyler's manipulation, the debt, the plans to drain equity. I show her all my evidence. Helen's expression grows darker with every detail. When I finish, she sets down her coffee. This is worse than I thought. Your parents contacted me last month asking about ownership transfer procedures. I gave them general information, but they said they'd handle the actual legal work themselves. I should have pressed harder. Can the transfer be stopped? Helen thinks for a moment. Maybe. The transfer documents require your signature as current CEO, acknowledging the handover procedures. Without it, the transfer exists in a legal gray area. It's valid on paper, but the operational transition can be challenged, especially if it can be proven that the transfer isn't in the business' best interest. How do I prove that? You need to demonstrate that the business would suffer material harm under the new ownership. Given what you've told me about Tyler's debts and his plans to extract equity, we might have a case. But we'd need more evidence. And we'd need to move fast. How fast? You have maybe 72 hours before the transfer becomes irreversible. After that, the business legally belongs to Amanda, and you'd have to convince her to reverse it voluntarily. 72 hours, 3 days. What do I need to do? I ask. Helen grabs a legal pad. First, we need documented proof of Tyler's financial situation and his plans to harm the business. Second, we need to show that key stakeholders, employees, clients, will abandon the business under new ownership. Third, we need to demonstrate your parents made this decision without understanding the consequences. And fourth, we need leverage. Over the next hour, Helen and I create a strategy. It's aggressive, possibly risky, but it's the only shot I have. Step 1. Hire a private investigator to dig deeper into Tyler's background. Helen recommends someone she's worked with before, a former police detective named Marcus Chen. No, not my ex-boyfriend Marcus, though the name makes my chest tighten anyway. I call Marcus Chen. Explain what I need. He can start immediately. Says he'll have preliminary findings by Monday. Step 2. Document everything with key employees. I need their statements, their concerns, their commitments. I start making calls. Bill, the service manager. Sarah, the marketing director. Tom, who runs our fleet services. Linda, our office manager. Every senior employee who's been with us for more than 2 years. I meet with Bill first, at a diner far from any of our locations. He's a big guy, early 50s, with grease permanently embedded under his fingernails despite his best efforts. Has been in the automotive industry for 30 years. Came to Harper Auto from a dealership where he was undervalued and underpaid. I heard about the ownership change, he says, stirring sugar into his coffee. Word travels fast. What are people saying? That your parents are giving the business to your sister, that she's never worked a day here, that her boyfriend's some kind of consultant. He looks at me directly. It's not good, Jolene. People are worried. How worried? Worried enough that 3 guys asked me about other job openings this week. Nobody wants to say it out loud, but everyone's thinking it. We're gonna get new management who doesn't know what they're doing, and this place is gonna fall apart. I lay out the truth for Bill. Everything about Tyler, the manipulation, the debt, the plans to drain the business. His face grows dark as he listens. So what are you going to do? He asks. Fight back. But I need help. If Amanda takes over and tries to install Tyler in a leadership position, would you stay? Bill doesn't hesitate. No. I'd quit on the spot. So would most of the experienced guys. We're loyal to you, Jolene. Not to some trust fund kid who's never changed oil in her life. Can I get that in writing? You can get it signed and notarized. I meet with Sarah, Tom, and Linda separately. The conversations are similar. All of them express the same concerns. All of them commit to the same thing. If Amanda takes over, they'll resign immediately. By Sunday evening, I have written statements from 11 senior employees, representing every critical function of the business. Without them, Harper Auto Group would be crippled. New ownership could hire replacements eventually, but the institutional knowledge, the relationships, the systems understanding would be gone. Step 3. Contact the major clients. This is delicate. I can't badmouth the new ownership directly. That would be unprofessional and could backfire. But I can have honest conversations about the transition and let them draw their own conclusions. I start with Midwest Logistics, our largest fleet client. We service their entire delivery fleet, 97 vehicles ranging from cargo vans to box trucks. They represent $1.8 million in annual revenue. I call Dave Kowalski, their fleet manager. We've worked together for 6 years, built a relationship based on reliability and communication. Dave, I wanted to give you a heads up. There's going to be a change in ownership at Harper Auto. Oh yeah? You selling? Not exactly. My parents are transferring ownership to my sister. There's a pause. Your sister Amanda? The one who came by last month and didn't know what a brake caliper was. That's the one. Another pause. Longer this time. Jolene, I'm not trying to be rude, but I need to be straight with you. Midwest Logistics chose Harper Auto because of you. Your attention to detail, your responsiveness, your understanding of fleet operations. If you're not running things anymore, I need to reconsider our arrangement. I understand completely. I wanted to let you know before anything official happens so you can plan accordingly. I appreciate that. Keep me posted on how things develop. I have similar conversations with our other 4 major clients. The responses range from concerned to alarmed. 2 of them straight up tell me that if I'm not involved with the business, they'll take their fleet contracts elsewhere. By Monday morning, I have statements or documented conversations showing that approximately $4.8 million in annual revenue is at risk of leaving. Step 4. The private investigator reports. Marcus Chen calls me at 9 on Monday. I've got what you need, and then some. Tyler Brennan is in deeper trouble than you thought. He emails me a comprehensive report. Tyler owes exactly $234,000 to various bookies and loan sharks connected to organized crime figures in the Chicago area. He has until the end of next month to pay or face serious consequences. The report includes documentation of Tyler's gambling activity over the past 3 years, showing a pattern of increasing desperation. But there's more. Tyler has done this before. 4 years ago, he dated a woman named Jennifer Morrison, whose family owned a successful catering business in Evanston. Tyler convinced Jennifer he wanted to help expand the business. He got access to company accounts as a consultant, transferred $53,000 to himself through shell companies, and then disappeared when Jennifer discovered the theft. She didn't press charges because she was embarrassed and wanted to move on. The report includes a statement from Jennifer, who Marcus tracked down and interviewed. She's willing to testify if needed about Tyler's pattern of targeting women with family businesses. This guy is a professional con artist, Marcus tells me. He finds vulnerable women with access to money or assets, builds trust, manipulates them, and then bleeds them dry. Your sister is just his latest mark. I have everything I need now. Evidence of fraud, evidence of Tyler's debts and criminal connections, statements from employees, client concerns, and historical pattern of similar behavior. It's Monday afternoon. I have less than 48 hours before the transfer becomes permanent. I'm preparing to call Helen when my phone rings. It's Mom. Her voice is shaking. Jolene, you need to come to the hospital right now. It's Amanda. My stomach drops. What happened? Just come. Aurora Medical Center, emergency room. I drive there with my heart pounding, my mind racing through terrible possibilities. When I arrive, I find my parents in the waiting room, Mom crying, Dad pale and shaken. What happened? I demand. Dad's voice is hollow. Tyler was attacked. Some men came to the house, looking for him. They beat him badly. Hez in intensive care. Amanda was there. She saw everything. She's being treated for shock. My blood runs cold. The loan sharks. Mom looks up, her face streaked with tears. What loan sharks? Jolene, what are you talking about? The men Tyler owes $234,000 to. I tried to warn you. They know about the business now. They see it as Tyler's asset, which means they see it as payment for his debts. The color drains from Dad's face. Oh God. What have we done? A police detective named Sarah Reeves arrives 20 minutes later. She's in her 40s, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. She takes statements from my parents, then turns to me. "You're Jolene Harper? The one who owns Harper Auto Group. I'm the one who built it." I correct. My parents were in the process of transferring ownership to my sister. Detective Reeves pulls out a notepad. "We need to talk about Tyler Brennan's associates and his financial situation. We believe this attack is related to gambling debts. Do you know anything about that?" I hand her a copy of the private investigator's report. "Everything you need is in here." She skims through it, her eyebrows rising. "This is thorough. How long have you known about this?" "I discovered it last week. I tried to warn my family. They didn't believe me. Until men with baseball bats showed up," Detective Reeves says grimly. "Tyler Brennan is being charged with multiple counts of fraud, by the way. We've been investigating him for 3 months as part of a larger case. Has been running the same con on several families in the Chicago area." Mom makes a small sound of distress. Dad just sits with his head in his hands. A doctor emerges from the emergency area. "Family of Amanda Harper." We all stand up. The doctor, a young woman with tired eyes, addresses us. "Amanda is physically unharmed, but she's experiencing significant psychological trauma from witnessing the attack. We're going to keep her overnight for observation. She's asking for her family." We follow the doctor to a small room where Amanda sits on a hospital bed, wrapped in a blanket despite the warm temperature. Her eyes are red from crying, her face pale. When she sees me, she starts crying harder. "Jolene," she whispers. "You were right. You were right about everything." I sit beside her, taking her hand. It's shaking. "I know. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. They were so angry," Amanda says, her voice breaking. "They kept yelling about money Tyler owed them. They said they knew about the auto business, that they'd take it if Tyler didn't pay them. One of them said, 'We know where you work, where your family works. Well, take everything you have.'" Mom is crying openly now. Dad looks like he's aged 10 years in the past hour. Amanda looks at me with devastation in her eyes. "I thought he loved me. He said he wanted to help me, that I deserved to have something of my own. But he was just using me the whole time, wasn't he?" "Yes," I say gently. "He was. I'm so stupid. You tried to tell me and I didn't listen. I was so jealous of you, so resentful that you were always the successful one, that I let him manipulate me into thinking I deserved what you built." She's sobbing now. "I didn't earn the business. I didn't earn anything. I just wanted something that was mine, and I was willing to take it from you, even though you're the one who saved it." I put my arm around her shoulders. She leans into me, crying like she did when she was little and had scraped her knee. "I'm sorry," she keeps saying. "I'm so sorry." Detective Reeves steps into the room. "Amanda, I need to ask you some questions about Tyler and his associates. Are you up for that?" Amanda nods, wiping her eyes. Over the next hour, she gives a detailed statement about Tyler's plans, his pressure on her to transfer the business, his promises that they'd use business assets to solve his problems. When the detective leaves, my parents approach Amanda's bedside. Dad speaks first, his voice thick with emotion. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. We thought we were helping you. We thought giving you the business would give you confidence and purpose. We had no idea Tyler was manipulating all of us." Mom adds, "We've failed both of you. We pushed Jolene too hard and coddled you too much. We created this disaster." The four of us sit in silence for a moment. Then Amanda speaks, her voice small. "The business should be Jolene's. It always should have been. She's the one who built it, who sacrificed for it. I don't want it anymore. I just want this nightmare to be over." Dad looks at me, his eyes pleading. "Jolene, can you fix this? Can you make this go away? The loan sharks, the transfer, all of it." I take a deep breath. This is the moment where I have all the power, where they're finally seeing my value, where they're finally asking instead of assuming. Please, honey, Mom begs. You're the only one who can fix this. You always have been. And there it is. The pattern my family has been repeating my entire life. They create a mess, and then they expect me to clean it up. They take me for granted until disaster strikes, and then suddenly, I'm essential. Valued only for what I can solve, not for who I am. I stand up slowly, carefully extracting myself from Amanda's grip. No. The room goes silent. Even Amanda stops crying. What? Dad says. No. I repeat, my voice calm and clear. I'm not going to fix this. Mom's face crumples. But Jolene, those men, they threatened us. They said they'd come after the business. That's a matter for the police now. I say. Detective Reeves is handling it. But the business, Dad says desperately. Who's going to run it? Amanda can't. And the transfer is still in process. That's your problem to solve, I say. You made the decision to give it to Amanda. You deal with the consequences. Amanda looks at me with tear-filled eyes. Jolene, please. I know I don't deserve your help, but Mom and Dad do. They're your parents. You can't just abandon them. I'm not abandoning them. I correct. I'm refusing to be taken for granted anymore. I turn to my parents. For 8 years, I sacrificed everything for this family and that business. I lost my relationship with Marcus. I lost my career trajectory. I lost my 20s. I worked myself to exhaustion. And you know what I got in return? A pat on the shoulder and the assumption that I'd always be there to fix whatever went wrong. My voice is steady, but there's steel in it. You didn't just betray me by giving the business to Amanda. You taught me that my worth to this family is only measured by what I can fix for you. That I'm valued for my usefulness, not for who I am. Dad tries to interrupt. That's not true. We love you. You love what I do for you, I counter. There's a difference. You took me for granted because I was strong, because I was capable, because I always stepped up. You gave Amanda the business because she's weak and needed help. That's not love. That's convenience. Mom reaches for my hand. What are you saying? I'm saying that the transfer documents are sitting in legal limbo because I never signed the final acknowledgement. I'm saying that I have statements from 11 key employees that they'll resign if Amanda takes over. I'm saying I have documented evidence from our 5 largest clients that they'll terminate their contracts if I'm not running the business. I'm saying that I have the power to destroy the business value right now, today, if I want to. The implications sink in. Without me, without the employees, without the major clients, Harper Auto Group is worth maybe 1/10 of its current value, maybe less. And I'm also saying, I continue, that I'm walking away from all of it. I resign. Effective immediately. The business is legally yours, Amanda. In about 48 hours when the transfer finalizes. You'll figure out the loan sharks, the employees threatening to quit, the clients leaving. All of it. You wanted this business? It's yours. All of it. The silence in the room is deafening. But Jolene, Dad says weakly, you're the only one who knows how to run it. Without you, it'll fall apart. Yes. I agree. It will. And that's not my problem anymore. Mom starts crying again. You're just going to let everything collapse? All that work, all those years, you let it collapse when you decided I was expendable. I say, you let it collapse when you chose favoritism over merit. You let it collapse when you invited a con artist into our lives and gave him access to everything I built. I didn't make those choices. You did. Amanda speaks up, her voice desperate. What do you want from us? What can we do to make this right? I look at my sister, seeing her clearly for maybe the first time. She's not evil. She's not even particularly malicious. She's just weak, coddled, and desperate for validation in all the wrong places. And our parents enabled that. I want you to figure it out yourselves. I say, I want you to experience what it's like when I'm not there to save you. I want you to understand what I've been doing for 8 years. And I want you to know that from now on, if you want my help, you'll have to ask for it respectfully. And you'll have to accept that I might say no. I walk toward the door. Mom calls after me, her voice breaking. Jolene, please. We made a mistake. We're sorry. Don't abandon us. I turn back one last time. I'm not abandoning you. I'm teaching you that I have value, that my work has meaning, that I won't be taken for granted anymore. If you can't understand that, then we never had the relationship I thought we did. I walk out of the hospital room, down the corridor, through the automatic doors, and into the parking lot. My phone is already ringing. It's Helen, the attorney. I heard about what happened, she says. Are you okay? I will be, I say. I just walked away from everything. That took guts, Helen says. But Jolene, there's something you should know. The transfer is in legal limbo, and given the new circumstances, Tyler's criminal charges, the threats from loan sharks, a judge would almost certainly void the transfer on grounds that it poses material harm to the business and to the transferring parties. Meaning you could fight for full ownership and you'd probably win. The business could be yours, completely, legally. I sit in my car, staring at the hospital building. Inside, my family is panicking, desperate, finally understanding what they're losing. Set up the paperwork, I tell Helen. But I need some time to think about whether I want it. For the first time in 8 years, I'm not sure if saving Harper Auto Group is what I actually want to do. 3 days pass. I don't answer calls from my parents. I don't respond to Amanda's tearful text messages. I don't reach out to the business to check on operations. I spend the time thinking, really thinking, about what I want my life to look like. I take walks in the forest preserve near my apartment. I sleep in for the first time in years. I read a novel, something I haven't done since before Dad's heart attack. I cook actual meals, instead of grabbing fast food between work crises. It's Tuesday when Amanda shows up at my apartment. She looks terrible. No makeup, hair in a messy ponytail, wearing sweatpants and one of my old college hoodies she must have kept all these years. Can I come in? She asks quietly. I consider saying no, but something in her face stops me. She looks different. Humbled, maybe. I step aside and let her in. She sits on my couch, hands clasped in her lap. Tyler was charged with 14 counts of fraud. Hez going to prison. His lawyer says he'll probably take a plea deal for 7 to 10 years. Good, I say simply. The loan sharks backed off once Tyler was arrested. Detective Reeves said they don't want the attention from law enforcement. They wrote off the debt as a loss. So you're safe. For now, she looks up at me. Jolene, I don't want the business. I never should have accepted it in the first place. I signed papers yesterday, relinquishing any claim to ownership. It reverts back to Mom and Dad. I sit down across from her. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to know that I understand now. I understand what I tried to take from you. I understand how much you built, how much you sacrificed, and I understand that I didn't earn any of it. Tears start rolling down her cheeks. I've been jealous of you my whole life. You were always the smart one, the capable one, the one everyone could count on. I felt invisible next to you. So you decided to steal what I built. Yes, she admits. And that was wrong. It was selfish and stupid and wrong. Tyler saw that resentment in me and exploited it. But that doesn't excuse what I did. I was a willing participant. We sit in silence for a moment. Then Amanda speaks again. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to come back and fix everything. I just wanted you to know that I finally see you. I see what you did, what you gave up, what you built. And I'm sorry I tried to take it away from you. It's the most honest, most mature thing Amanda has ever said to me, and I realize that maybe this disaster was the wake-up call she needed. What are you going to do now? I ask. Get a real job. something entry level where I have to actually work and learn and earn my way up. Mom and Dad cut me off financially, said it's time I support myself. She wipes her eyes. I'm scared, honestly. I've never had to really take care of myself before, but I think I need to. I think you do too, I say gently. Amanda stands to leave. At the door, she turns back. For what it's worth, I told Mom and Dad that if you decide to take over the business, I'll support it. You deserve it more than anyone. After she leaves, I sit alone in my apartment. My phone rings. It's Helen. The court hearing is scheduled for Thursday, she says. We can petition to void the transfer completely and establish your ownership claim. With everything that's happened, with Tyler's arrest and Amanda's voluntary relinquishment, the judge will almost certainly rule in your favor. And if I don't show up to the hearing, then the business reverts to your parents' ownership. They'd have to figure out what to do with it. Thursday morning, I dress in my best business suit. I drive to the courthouse in Kane County. Helen meets me outside. Are you sure about this? She asks. No, I admit. But I'm doing it anyway. Inside the courtroom, my parents sit in the gallery, looking small and nervous. Amanda is there too. The judge, a woman in her 60s with silver hair and reading glasses, reviews the case file. This is a petition to void a business ownership transfer, she says. Miss Harper, you're the petitioning party. Yes, Your Honor, I say standing. And you're seeking to void the transfer from Gerald and Patricia Harper to Amanda Harper, with the business reverting to your ownership. Actually, Your Honor, I'd like to propose a different arrangement. The judge raises her eyebrows. Go ahead. Over the next 10 minutes, I lay out my proposal. The transfer to Amanda is voided on grounds of material harm to the business. The business reverts temporarily to my parents' ownership. Then, they will transfer 60% ownership to me, giving me majority control and final decision-making authority on all operational matters. They will retain 30% ownership and can serve in advisory roles, but cannot override my decisions. The remaining 10% will be held in trust, available to Amanda only if she completes a business degree and works in an entry-level position at the business for a minimum of 2 years, proving her competence and commitment. Additionally, I stipulate that no family member's romantic partner can have any operational role or financial access to the business without my explicit approval. All major decisions regarding hiring, finances, and strategy must go through me. Everything will be legally binding with documentation prepared by legal counsel. The judge considers this. Mr. and Mrs. Harper, do you agree to these terms? Dad stands up. Yes, Your Honor. We should have done this from the beginning. Mom nods, crying. We agree completely. Miss Amanda Harper, do you object to these terms? Amanda stands. No, Your Honor. I think they're fair. More than fair. The judge signs the order. The transfer to Amanda Harper is voided. The modified ownership structure is approved. Miss Jolene Harper has majority ownership and operational control of Harper Auto Group effective immediately. Just like that, it's done. Outside the courthouse, my parents approach me hesitantly. Dad speaks first. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for giving us another chance. I'm not doing this for you, I say honestly. I'm doing it because 43 people depend on that business for their livelihoods. And because I'm not ready to let everything I built be destroyed. But things are different now. We understand, Mom says quickly. Whatever you need. I need you to respect my decisions. I need you to trust that I know what I'm doing. And I need you to understand that I'm not the family fixer anymore. If I help with something, it's because I choose to, not because you expect it. They both nod. Dad looks older, tired. We took you for granted. We see that now. We thought you'd always be there because you always had been. We didn't realize we were asking you to sacrifice your whole life. It's not a perfect apology, but it's something. Amanda approaches last. If you decide to give me that chance to earn my way, I'll take it seriously. I promise. Well, see, I say. First, finish your degree. Then, well, talk. 6 months later, I'm sitting in my office at Harper Auto Group. My name is on the door now, not just manager or director but owner and president. The ownership documents are framed on my wall. The business is thriving. We recovered from the turbulence of the ownership drama. Employees stayed, reassured by my leadership. Clients renewed their contracts. We even expanded into commercial truck servicing, a new revenue stream that's proving lucrative. Amanda is enrolled in a business program at College of DuPage, taking night classes while working full-time as a receptionist at a dental office. She texts me occasionally with updates, asking for advice. Our relationship is cautious, but improving. She's finally growing up. My parents attend weekly family dinners that I host at my new townhouse. The dynamic is different now. They ask before assuming. They respect my boundaries. They're learning to see me as a person, not just as the family's solution to every problem. I started dating again. His name is Ryan, and he's a client of ours, owns a small construction company that uses our fleet services. He asked me out for coffee 3 months ago, and I surprised myself by saying yes. We take it slow. He understands that I'm busy, but he also gently pushes me to make time for life outside of work. We went hiking last weekend. I can't remember the last time I did something just for fun. There's a knock on my office door. Amanda pokes her head in. Hey, got a minute? Come in, I say, surprised. It's 3 in the afternoon on a Wednesday. She should be at class. She walks in carrying 2 cups of coffee from the shop down the street. Thought you might need a break. I accept the coffee. Shouldn't you be at school? Professor canceled class. I was in the area and thought I'd stop by. She sits in the chair across from my desk. I wanted to ask you about something. My business law professor said I should do an internship next summer. I was wondering if maybe I could intern here? Not because of family, but because I genuinely want to learn. I'd work in service or customer relations, whatever you think would be most valuable. I study her face. She looks nervous, genuine. You understand you'd be treated like any other intern? No special privileges, no shortcuts. I wouldn't want it any other way, she says earnestly. Let me think about it, I say. Show me your grades at the end of the semester, and we'll talk. She beams. Thank you for considering it. After she leaves, I turn to look out my office window. I can see the service bays from here. Mechanics working on cars, customers checking in at the desk. Everything runs smoothly now. Everything feels solid. My phone buzzes. It's Ryan. Still on for dinner tonight? I type back. Absolutely. Looking forward to it. For the first time in 8 years, I'm not working late. I'm leaving at 5:30 to have dinner with someone I care about. The business will still be here tomorrow. The work will still be here, but so will I. Better rested, better balanced, better able to lead. I learned something crucial through this nightmare. Love without respect is just obligation. My parents loved me, but they didn't respect my contributions until they lost them. They didn't value my sacrifice until it was gone. I also learned that sacrifice without boundaries is just self-destruction. I nearly destroyed myself trying to prove my worth to people who should have seen it all along. I gave and gave and gave, thinking that if I just worked hard enough, sacrificed enough, proved myself enough, they'd finally recognize my value. But walking away taught me something more important, that my worth isn't determined by how much I can endure or how many problems I can solve. My worth is inherent. I deserved respect and appreciation, not because I was useful, but because I'm a person who matters. When I walked away from the hospital that day, refusing to fix yet another mess, I wasn't abandoning my family. I was teaching them that I had value beyond my utility, that I wouldn't accept scraps of appreciation while giving everything, that I deserved to be treated like a person, not a tool. And something unexpected happened. They finally saw me. Not as the strong one who doesn't need anything. Not as the fixer whole, always save them. But as a person who deserves appreciation, respect, and choice. Amanda learned that shortcuts don't build character. Struggle does. Watching her now, working a real job, taking real classes, earning her way, I see her developing actual confidence. Not the false confidence Tyler tried to give her by handing her something she didn't earn, but real confidence that comes from facing challenges and overcoming them. My parents learned that equality doesn't mean identical treatment. It means recognizing each person's unique value and contribution. They learned that their job wasn't to protect Amanda from struggle, or to assume it'd always be fine. Their job was to see both of us clearly and treat us with respect. And I learned the most important lesson of all. You teach people how to treat you. For years, I accepted scraps of appreciation while giving everything. I never set boundaries. I never demanded more because I thought that asking for recognition somehow diminished the value of what I'd done. I thought my work should speak for itself. But work doesn't speak. People need to be told, explicitly and repeatedly, what you need from them. They need to be shown, through consequences, that you won't accept less than you deserve. The moment I walked away, everything changed. Not because my family suddenly became better people, but because I finally became someone who knew her worth. Someone who refused to be taken for granted. Someone who demanded respect instead of hoping for it. That's the real inheritance I earned through all of this. Not the business, though I have that too. Not the money, or the success, or the title. The real inheritance is the knowledge that I deserve respect, that my work matters, that I never again have to beg for recognition from people who should freely give it. I don't have to prove my worth anymore. I know my worth. And if other people can't see it, that's their problem, not mine. The sun is setting outside my window, casting golden light across my desk. I save my work, shut down my computer, and grab my jacket. As I walk through the building, employees nod and smile. Bill waves from the service bay. Sarah calls out a goodbye from her office. In the parking lot, I pause before getting in my car. I look back at the building, at the Harper Auto Group sign with my grandfather's name on it, at the business I almost lost and then fought to reclaim. It's mine now. Truly mine. Not because someone gave it to me. Not because I was owed it, but because I earned it, fought for it, and refused to let it go without getting what I deserved. And standing here, knowing I'm about to drive away, at a reasonable hour to have dinner with someone who values me for who I am, not what I can do for them, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Peace. Not the peace of having no problems. The peace of knowing I can handle whatever comes. The peace of having boundaries and respecting them. The peace of being valued and valued correctly. I get in my car and drive toward my life. The one I'm finally building on my own terms. Behind me, Harper Auto Group stands solid and thriving. Tomorrow I'll come back and lead it well. But tonight, I'm just Jolene. Not the fixer, not the workhorse, just me. And that's more than enough. So let me ask you something. Have you ever felt taken for granted by the people who should value you most? Have you ever given everything to something or someone, only to realize they never appreciated what you sacrificed? How did you handle it? Did you walk away? Or did you stay and fight for the respect you deserved? I'd love to hear your story in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, if it made you think about your own relationships and boundaries, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more stories about people who refuse to accept less than they deserved. And share this video with someone who needs to hear that their worth isn't measured by what they can do for others, but by who they are. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps you recognize your own worth and gives you the courage to demand the respect you deserve. Remember, you teach people how to treat you. Make sure you're teaching them that you're valuable, that your contributions matter, and that you won't settle for anything less than genuine appreciation. Take care of yourselves out there. Set your boundaries. Know your worth. And never, ever let anyone convince you that your value is only in what you can fix for them. Until next time.